Welcome back, everybody. I'm here with UCF Athletic Director Terry Mohajir. Terry, thank you so much for spending some time and sitting down with me today.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you guys being here. It's awesome.
All right.
Student production group, that's fantastic.
Awesome. So we're moving into kind of what drew you to UCF. What was one thing that about the school that made you most confident in coming here?
Well, I lived in Florida before. I worked at FAU, and it's kind of a long answer. There's a lot of ebbs and flows to my career, but I worked at FAU, and when I was living down in South Florida, I watched UCF growth, and I saw young people from all over the state gravitating to UCF, and I was like, man, that place is really growing, leaps and bounds. And at the time, for whatever reason, either they didn't get in or whatever, the admissions requirements were too high. People weren't going to Florida and Florida State, and they started going to UCF, and I was like, man, this is a great place. So fast forward, I went a couple of other places, and I went to work I was the AD at Arkansas State before I got here, and that's where I played football. And I was like, I was in a pretty good situation. We were doing very well, winning a lot of games. Our teams were highly successful, probably one of the winningest program in all of the Sun Belt. And when this job opened up, I had a headhunter call me, and I wasn't really looking for anything. Had a headhunter call me and said, do you have any interest? And I was like, that's like the one school I've kept my eye on for all these years. And at the time, it wasn't in the Power Five, and I had a pretty good job as another Group of Five school. And it was one of those things where I was like, if I'm going to make a move to another Group of Five school at the time, it has to have certain parameters. The youthfulness, the idea of building foundation and not being a caretaker, building on the foundation that was already laid, but not all the work has been done yet. The other thing too is the fan base was great. Being able to build new facilities, being able to build a budget, and being able to do things that's never been done before in a program. And that always excites me. It doesn't really excite me to go to places where you have to be a caretaker and you basically just show up to work and everything has been done and people have done a lot of different things. And I think that's the mentality I've had. I've always kind of had that mentality. Plus, I'm a little bit more of an entrepreneurial type AD, and I believe this school offered that we could be a little bit more innovative in the things that we do, and being more creative in building an athletics department. And I think that's what we've done.
Well, speaking of the innovation, the Roth Tower is going to be under construction after this season. What inspired the idea for it? What will it bring to the UCF community? And how will it change the game day experience?
So a couple things. What inspired it is we needed to generate new revenue. And the football stadium is the best piece of real estate we have. We knew that the revenues that we were generating from the tower now, the Roth Tower now, was really helpful for our program. As a matter of fact, it is kind of the lifeblood of our revenues. We needed to expand it. We were growing. We were going in the power conferences. Even though we even knew we were going to the power conferences, we started talking about expanding our tower. And when we looked at what's best to sustain new revenue for over the coming years, is building a new tower, repurposing the tower, was probably the reason why we did that. And we had a couple different iterations. We thought about doing it in the south area, and then after seeing one season there, I didn't want to pull apart the stands where the students and some of our fans were. So then we gravitated back to where the tower is now and just repurposing it.
So what was the biggest challenge in the entire plan so far for?
Cost. It's always cost. And cost, especially coming after COVID, the elevation of costs, trying to get workers, subs. And so we're right now in the process of finishing up our GMP, which is the gross maximum price. And I think they're doing pretty well. We got a lot of competition in town where, Disney's or Universal's building Epic. And so there's a lot of construction projects going on in town. So, but we feel pretty good. We got a really good team on campus, led by John Barnell, the vice president for facilities. And always is cost. Is usually the thing, because obviously when you're planning your finance package, you got to know what the cost is.
Can you tell me about any other upcoming upgrades to any of the facilities?
Well, we've pretty much upgraded almost every one of our facilities. We've spent $12 million over the basketball arena, Addition Financial Arena, the venue or volleyball, our softball, baseball. I think almost every one of our facilities have been upgraded. The last piece has been really football. And really to sustain our budget to get into the same, hemisphere as some of our competitors budget-wise, we really needed to have a piece of inventory and a facility that generated the type of money that we know it can to really get to that next level financially.
Well, moving to the space game, what does it mean to be able to honor the space ties that UCF has in this kind of new-ish tradition?
That was probably one of the best surprises. Like, I didn't really know about the space heritage here. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think everybody loves it. Even fan bases in the Big 12, they actually ask me that are alums. They say, "Hey, can you get me some Citronaut gear?" Because they love it. They just love the Citronaut gear. And I love capturing our space heritage. I love the fact that we do the space uniforms. Now we have a lot of competitive universities that are our competitors that want to claim that they're the Space U. I think we've already adopted that, and I think everybody just becomes those Johnny-come-lately copycats. And so it is really something to celebrate. Every time the visiting AD comes to their visiting AD box that we have for them up in the tower, the Roth Tower, I explain to them, the heritage, why we Space U, and they get a big kick out of it. So it's really cool. So we embrace it. I think it's exciting. It just kind of goes along with the whole culture of the UCF community.
Can you tell me a little bit about the creative process that goes into kind of creating the jerseys, any of the other apparel?
It's amazing. We have a whole team of folks, led by Jimmy Skiles and the branding team, and he has Eric DeSalva. We have our equipment guys. We have our graphic designers. We go talk to people on campus, and it's all mission based. Whatever the mission is. This year, the uniforms are based on the moon, the synthetic moon dust that we've created on campus. That's why you see kind of the speckles of the dust on the uniforms, and so it's very factually driven, the uniforms, based on missions, based on just things that our campus is doing.
Mm-hmm. So moving to the future and the outlook of UCF, what are the goals that you have over the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, we're still transitioning the Big 12, and we're going through some challenges even right now, as you know, and I think stability, continuity, and patience. I've said it for almost 2 years now, is really important. This is my third time being in the Big 12, and I've been in the Big 12 with lots of transition, back even before Colorado left, and now they're back. I was in the Big 12. And so I think, I do really believe and that we can be exceptional when it comes to athletics. I think as we level set our budgets and we focus on our Mission 12 with our 4-pronged test: recruiting, operating budget, personnel, and facilities. As we continue to grow that, I think we can be a top 25, consistent top 25 program in every one of our sports. And I know it doesn't feel that way right now, but we are on that trajectory, and we just got to stay focused on that.
Well, as you mentioned, the move to the Big 12 been a huge part of UCF. What are some of the things that set apart UCF from the other programs in the Big 12?
I think our environment, we're very unique. Number one, our size. We're the biggest, I guess us and Arizona State are the 2 biggest universities now that they're in the league, and which is going to be kind of fun. We play them next week. 2 biggest public schools in America in the same conference. I do think this environment, our region, does provide a different experience. Having, like I said, served in the Big 12 twice before, and being a little bit more landlocked in Texas and the Midwest focused, I just think that you see a lot of new opportunities and regionality experiences that you can't get in some of the other college towns. I do think that from an attractive standpoint, I think the traditional college town, as we go forward, especially in this new age of college athletics, and what our kids are most focused about is what they do after they graduate, is I think having a metropolitan area type university to attend is probably going to be top of mind of all students and student athletes when they're trying to choose a college. If we can stay competitive from an operating budget, revenue share, I think the sky's the limit.
Mm-hmm. Reflecting on your time here so far, if you can pinpoint it, what has been your proudest moment at UCF?
Oh, there's all kinds of proud moments. I don't know if I can really pinpoint. There's been a lot of really good moments, and there's been some moments behind the scenes that really nobody knows about. Just things that our staff does, that how they work. I'm really proud with the staff that we have, to be honest with you. And we got a really good staff, administrative staff. They work extremely hard. They're very innovative. They've got a great sense of who we are and what we can be, and I think that's really, really good. I do think, it's just if you want some pivotal moments, I think getting in the Big 12 was definitely a big moment for our university. A little more challenging than what people think. They thought it was just a foregone conclusion. It required some work. And then obviously some of the milestones that we've had with playing in the Big 12 and also the TDT, receiving $90 million from the Tourism Development Tax. That's a huge milestone because that's going to allow us to help build new facilities and it creates as little as debt as possible, where other schools are having these huge debt packages and they have to service the debt in their operating budget. Because of this grant that we received, it allows us to spend more money on growing our programs.
One last one before we get out of here. What would you say is something that people don't know about the day-to-day of an athletic director?
I think people are surprised about how much advice you get from a lot of different people. I think, people are, in their daily life, they're very successful in their business. They don't have a lot of people giving them advice. But there's a lot of political factions and good, there's a lot of good side of things too. You get a lot of good feedback from a lot of different people. Those are things that I think people don't really realize on a daily basis. The other thing is, and this is a more positive, is you get to see young people come into this program. No matter what their family circumstances are, you get to see them grow every single day, whether it's on the playing surface or as a person or a human being. And when they finish college here or they graduate, they finish their eligibility and they graduate, you get to see them break the cycle of their family circumstances that they've been told their whole life they can't. You are a product of your economic status. You're a product of your environment. But you come to college, you play sport, whatever that sport may be. You get a degree. You use your sport to get to that next level and break your family circumstances forever, and level set and start a whole new family dynamic for your life. And I think that's probably the best part of my job, to be very candid. It's the education. It's watching a young person. You are going to be there too. When you graduate, you're going to go get your first job, and you're going to take a picture of your first office or your first house that you buy. You're going to send it to your folks or your loved ones or to your professor, and they're going to be very gratifying. I'm telling you, as much as I want our athletes to score a lot of points, touchdowns, baskets, home runs, all that stuff, there's nothing more gratifying when I know a young person comes here, maybe in underrepresented communities, and they graduate, and they send me a picture of their house, and they send me a picture of their wives, their families, and their new house. There's not a better feeling than that.
That must be amazing. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks.